All right. So in very short, I grew up in Hungary. I spent most of my adult life in Vienna, where I also did my PhD, basically in forensic sciences. And my research is mainly about lie detection and deception detection, and a bit about behavioral research methods.
All right, so you grew up in Vienna.
I grew up in Budapest, in Hungary, and I did my PhD in Vienna, and I also worked as a postdoc in Vienna. Yeah, and so I lived there for about 5 years, but the rest of the time I spent in many different countries, mainly in Europe. I studied abroad, I worked abroad, and so forth. Well, basically, as I said, my main research topic is deception detection, so I guess I know a lot about that. I was working mainly with reaction times, so I know how to implement and conduct experiments with response time measurements. I also worked with EEG, eye tracking, all sorts of other technological stuff, and I conducted a lot of experiments online, so I kind of accidentally became kind of expert on that too, to the level that I felt I needed to write a guide on how to do that. The main change that I see personally is that everything is moving online, so it's so easy to collect participants. That much of research has moved online for online participant collection. Apart from that, generally everything is computerized, automatized, because everything is just becoming easier. Now, what might change a little bit is now there is AI, which can pretty much fake all the results for online studies. So maybe we will be slowly moving offline back again, just because we can then trust the results that participants give. I guess that's it in short. Technical or any kind of.
It could be the main technical challenge.
So technically, I would say you have to just be an expert on what. Okay, I think it's not such a big challenge. So even if you do offline an experiment, it's a bit of a challenge to set up the experiment, but you just have to get to know how to do it, and afterwards it's easy. Basically, what you need to do is look for mistakes and bugs, because it can more likely happen in online experiments. So you have to test your software many times, because then if someone is doing it online and you are not there and they just say, oh, I have a problem, there is not much you can do. So that's a bit of a problem, but generally it's quite easy, I would say. So this precision specifically is, essentially browsers are quite accurate in everything. And education is already using all sorts of psychological tools, especially for memory recall and things like that, that I know of. But there is also, I guess, good opportunities for diagnostics, for medicine. So people can just take out their smartphones and do their own tests for self-assessment. So for example, reaction times can be useful for some sorts of diagnostic tools. I'm not an expert on that, but I'm pretty sure that there are some uses for that, as far as I know. Well, I would say that it kind of works the opposite way. So if there is some need for something, psychology tries to solve it. But regarding specifically, did you mention UX and?
Yeah.
And?
UI, UX.
No. UX and? What was that?
Sorry, for the online learning.
Yeah. So that's already something I mentioned. So I think psychologists have been developing all sorts of tools for memory recall and all sorts of learning experiences, and I think they can be much better than actual in-class memorizations and typical older tools. And UX, it's more like what they find in private sector, we are using it in psychology. So I think there is no huge innovation in psychology regarding US, but of course there is, ergonomics and things like that. Well, first off, you can just read my tutorial, which I hope you will link somewhere, but honestly, it's not for everyone and it's pretty difficult. I mean, even compared to other programming languages. So if you really want to do an online experiment, just look for some easy graphical user interface solution. And there are really ones that everyone can use. So I don't know, I'm not advertising, I'm not connected to this, but I think LabJS is really, really simple to use. Maybe Psycho.js, there are all sorts of tools. I also mentioned in my tutorial just some of these, although I don't talk about them in detail. But yeah, I'm just telling you, if you want to do online research, you don't have to have any special expertise. You can just look into it and it's quite easy to do.
Sure, that's interesting.
In fact, I would add that it's probably not much more difficult than if you want to do an offline experiment once again, so that too requires some expertise. Well, from my perspective, if we would detect all the lies in life, we would live in some sort of a utopia. I mean, people could not commit crimes without getting punished. People could not steal, not kill, not do any problematic things. So it's about basically transparency and acknowledgement of facts and reality. So maybe all this is kind of self-explanatory, like liars should be detected. At least that's my perspective. Of course, if you ask a politician, they will not like the idea of detecting lies. In fact, yeah, there are quite a few people who don't like the idea. Okay, so not to demean myself, but the response time concealed information test is not some huge advancement. So there are more important differences between different types of lie detection. You mentioned the polygraph, but the polygraph has different types. Of course, most people don't know who are not working in this area, but there is a certain type that is probably not working so well, and there is a type, the concealed information test, which can be used with the polygraph, and it's working quite well. And if people would focus more on that type, they would get better results. I mean, in Japan, they are actually using it, but in other countries, not so much. And this has been said by many, many people in science. There are many papers about it, so I'm saying nothing new with this. But specifically, the response time concealed information test does have some advantages. For example, it's super easy to use, it's very easy to standardize, so it doesn't depend on the expertise of the polygraph examiner. Everyone can just do it in the same way, so it's very, again, it's kind of very transparent. Yeah. So regarding the ethical side, there are always, people come up with all sorts of problems, but honestly, I don't see any valid argument against detecting lies. So of course, we cannot force people to say something, but if they are voluntarily undergoing a lie detection examination, I cannot really see any valid reason against it. And as for the actual practical, so many people agree with this again. Practitioners want to actually use this lie detection method, and the real problem is that there's just no one who, I mean, I cannot say that this is for sure the problem, but my understanding and what I experienced is that there's just no one who wants to take responsibility for actual implementation. So they don't care enough, basically. So I ask a police authority or some agency, and they say, well, this is fine, but it's just too much fuss and basically not worth investing all the time and then maybe saying that for some reason it didn't work out, unfortunately. So it's hard to say what will come next, but unfortunately, again, psychology, it's more like psychology follows what happens in the real world. Like, it's not so much that psychology influences the real world, and what is happening right now is, of course, AI, so everyone knows that. And there are many interesting opportunities how we could use AI in psychology. For example, we could, again, it's about efficiency. So we could run so many studies just having AI as participant. And since it is so close to human behavior, we could just, within basically a couple of minutes, we could have hundreds or thousands of participants simulated by AI, and maybe if not the most realistic results, but we could get some results that are probably quite close to real people's results. And there are all sorts of other ways that we can use AI. There will be, I'm sure, many developments in software related partly to AI and other things, and all this will come into psychology and will be some interesting stuff for us to research and to tell more about the human mind. Yeah, so actually that's pretty much what I just said. So yeah, I think it will be software, it will be AI. So whatever is happening in the real world, the problems are coming, and psychology focuses in whatever is most current in the real world, and that will come into psychology. We try to give solutions. Maybe people will listen to it, maybe not. That's basically it.
All right, thank you. So it's about the use of AI and also how psychology can also give solutions on how we can make this technology and also psychology going the same way. All right, so on behalf of the Faculty of Psychology, we'd like to say thank you for your time, and that's all. And we will be uploading it on the channel. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Sure, you're welcome. Thank you.
Lead and innovate.